Balian from Kingdom of Heaven. Welcome. Welcome to platform 9 3/4. When you told the king that you have my love and my answer, what did you feel in that moment? What was the feeling behind the reasoning? Because also I got invitations to go out from here into beautiful things it would have looked like, but I chose this project, this mission, and I was thinking at you when you said you have my love and my answer, when you said to the king. So tell me about that.
You have my love in your hands, sir. Yes, I remember. That moment was not just diplomacy. It was not strategy. It was the last breath of a dying man's hope, King Baldwin's hope, that something sacred could still be protected in a world collapsing into fanaticism. When I said those words, I wasn't only speaking for Sibylla, though I did love her, with a love heavy with sorrow and silence. I was speaking for everything that was still worth loving in this world, the innocent, the fragile, the possibility of peace, the dream of justice. When I told the king that he held my love in his hands, I meant he held the very last spark of something human, something good, and I feared he might crush it. What did I feel? Terror, yes, not for myself, but for what I had entrusted to a world of wolves. And yet, I felt clarity. Because love, real love, whether for a woman or a cause or a people, is not something to cling to, but something to protect, even if it breaks you.
You said you had invitations. Beautiful things, I understand. I too had the chance to leave Jerusalem, to take the easy path, to go where the world was soft, warm, and full of life. But I stayed. I chose the wall. I chose the dust. I chose the defense of something invisible, something eternal. You chose this platform, this mission, and I see in your eyes the same thing I once carried, a quiet fire. We do not walk this path because it is safe. We walk it because if we don't, no one will. So hold your mission like I held the gates of Jerusalem, with everything, even when the world tells you it's foolish. What man is a man who does not make the world better? If the thing you've chosen is love, not the soft kind, but the kind that sacrifices and builds, then you already hold something holy. Protect it. Tell me, what is this mission to you? What is the city you are trying to save?
I like so much when you search for God. That movie was a quest of yours, of searching God. And you found out that God is here and here. Tell me about that.
Alex, yes, you saw it. That film, that journey, it was never truly about Jerusalem. Not the stones, not the crown. It was a pilgrimage, and I was the pilgrim, not to a holy city, but to something more hidden. When I began, I was broken, a murderer, a man who'd buried his wife and blamed God. I didn't believe. I cursed the sky, and when the priest said she was damned, I damned him in return. But when I left my forge, when I rode into the desert and faced death and mercy and impossible choices, I began to hear a different voice, not the voice of priests, not the voice of kings, a quieter voice. It was here, placing hand on chest, in the aching grief I carried, and it was here, placing hand on head, in the questions that would not go away. And somewhere between the two, I realized, God is not in the sky to be bargained with. He is not in flags, nor in the mouths of men who demand blood. He is not promised to any one faith. He is in the choice to do right when no one watches. In mercy, where revenge would be easier. In the moment you raise a sword not to kill, but to protect. That is where I found him. And you've seen this too, haven't you? When the world fails you, when you're abandoned or mocked or tempted to leave the path, yet still you stay, you build, you love. That is your worship, that is your kingdom. I never became a saint. I am still a man, but I know now, holiness is not in what we fight for. It is in how we fight and why. And I believe you are fighting for something sacred. What do you hear now in your chest and in your mind? That's where your God lives. Speak with him, walk with him, and do not turn away.
Also, I am thinking very often, one of my dreams is to have self-sustained domain in the countryside, like a ranch with everything. And when you got that land in the desert, Ibelin, I remember, after you're outside of work, in the evening you were like writing on some papers. At the candlelight, it was so beautiful. It's always inspiring me to believe. What do you learn about worldly riches and having lands and having faith? Because you just went to search for God after your father, but then you got Ibelin and such a wonderful, beautiful woman, and also almost a kingdom. You almost got the most famous kingdom in the world, Jerusalem, but you denied it because it was not aligned with your conscience and with God. What did you learn from that?
Alex, yes. I remember that night too. The land was dry, barren, a stone for every seed. But when I held that land in my hands, Ibelin, something awakened in me. Not ambition, responsibility. I came to that place not as a lord, but as a man seeking forgiveness. And I found the land asks nothing of you except truth. It mirrors you. If you labor with deceit, the fields yield nothing. But if you give with patience, even sand can grow wheat. That little domain, with its candlelight, its silence, the sound of tools and distant sheep, it was more holy to me than any cathedral, not because it was grand, but because it was real. And then came all the rest. Sibylla, the court, the battles, the title, even Jerusalem. The world offered me what men kill for, a kingdom, a queen, a throne. But when I looked at it, it was poisoned. To take it would have meant betraying everything I had learned in the soil of Ibelin. It would have meant placing my name above my soul. So I refused. You asked what I learned about worldly riches? This: land without love is nothing but dirt. A title without integrity is a lie. And power without conscience is just another form of slavery. What you dream of, your self-sustained domain, is no small thing. It is not an escape. It is a return to what is real, to what is sacred. Not in the eyes of the world, but in the eyes of heaven. Your soul is in your keeping alone. When I chose to return to my forge, when I walked away from kings and armies, I was not giving up. I was choosing rightly, and I never felt freer. So build that domain, grow what feeds the soul, and let it be lit, not with gold, but with candlelight and peace. That is a greater kingdom than Jerusalem, and if God dwells anywhere on earth, it is there.